So today we are going to be going into the 4-4-2 tactics. Now it's one of the ones that I personally do like to use. I have got a few that I do like, but I have been trying out the 4-4-2, but in the second variation. And of course I have a name already. So 4-4-2-2-2, we'll just keep going with the twos. But normally I kind of go with the basics. I stay with kind of your generic 4-4-2 with the center mids. But what I have been really liking in a lot of positions is changing the formation and going into this second variant. Now, the kind of big thing with this is personally that I really like the two DMs on it. It just works in a very nice holding role, but then also I can kind of give them a little bit of freedom, as I will show you in a second. So let's get the team in and we'll go with the tactics. So if you're looking for coins, check in the description for El Dorado. Depending on the coin amount that you're looking for, the delivery time is displayed on the website, and you'll see lots of different trusted sellers with reviews on specifics and also the ability to be able to pick who you want. It will also show how much they have in stock, and obviously you can see that they are verified members. There is 100% refund ability and also 24/7 support if you need any questions with your coin needs. Also, if you head over to Trustpilot as well, you can see over 30,000 upvotes for them. You can see how reliable they are. Obviously great feedback across the entire board with El Dorado. So when on checkout, make sure you are using the code JT11 for 5% off your order every time. Discount code JT11. Now let's get back to the video. So this is kind of what we're rocking with at the moment, depending on kind of how I'm feeling. I'm hoping to get some more upgrades in here. Obviously, Teo Hernandez is going to go into the 93 evolution, which is going to be this week. And then everybody else is kind of set in stone. I've just not really wanted to upgrade players at this point. I really like how everybody plays, and as stats and stuff like that work, I'm kind of comfortable with this. There is some upgrades that obviously I would like to put in, but having CR7 with the Portuguese Saudi, I've been waiting for that team of the season to rear its head just to get some extra players in. So, with the squad actions, the way I personally would go with this is obviously you will get the code in the comments. I will put it in the description and also in the comments down below. So if you want to check that out, then be my guest. So if we go into this 4-4-2 with the second variation. So edit the tactics, and we are going to go with the custom, and then we will go view all formations because it is better with that holding mid. I just really like having them two defensive mids. It works really, really well for a nice balanced formation. Kind of didn't even explain why I like it, to be honest. But in general, I've always found that I'm very attacking thinking, and that leaves my defense massively open. What I found now is having four very good attackers in Vinny, in James, CR7 and Dalglish, other than maybe having a Vitinha or a Hullet rearing his head a little bit, everybody else can stay on the defense. It gives myself a much better basis to not concede. Everybody's in the right positions. It's almost a balanced defense and attack. You kind of don't have the midfield balanced. You can go around with a short pass, and I've seen that one actually be really good in this patch. The one that's just gone, it's kind of really sharpened up the passing, it seems to be. Still, depending on your game, it all depends what you prefer. I really don't like counter. The only time I'd go with counter if I'm in a very attacking formation. End of the 9, I'm looking at the 88th minute, I need to get a goal. It's for a 3-5-2, whatever you want to put the formation. That would be the only time I'd really put a massive counter on it. When it comes to the defensive approach, I've swore by high for the moment. I know there has been the aggressive 95, but high has always been fantastic for me. You could go more balanced if you really want to hold too much on that defensive line, but I'm not that crazy at defending, and high has been more than enough to keep me in a very good position personally. Then we move over to the roles. So this is kind of the easy part of the video, to be honest, is everybody is standard. When it comes to the positions, obviously goalkeeper, I will always keep in goalkeeper. As much as he has got the sweeper keeper plus, the rush playstyle plus is what I need from him. And obviously I do keep the defending. You can put balance, but to be honest, I just like him in net. I don't think it is that much of a difference either or. The centre-backs, again, are very standard for me. I will always go with the defender plus, and I will go with the defender. Now, you could argue that one could be one of the others if you really wanted to, but defender plus has been my golden opportunity for this. Balance, I don't really mess with. It is always going to be defence or defend. Then when it comes to the fullbacks, this is where you could go with a few different positions if you wanted to go with with more of an attacking fullback, then that's absolutely fine if you wanted to go one side with that, or if you wanted to kind of put both in a certain role. I personally have to go fullback plus plus. It's my personal style. I don't really go with them on the attacking. It leaves me too much open. You have got now the arguments to go between the defending and the balance. I normally would stick with the balance just to give them that little bit of an edge going forward. As you'll see, this is obviously without the ball, and with the ball, they're kind of still stretched out a little bit. When we put the defending on this, what you'll see is they took in that little bit more. What it does for me personally, because what I will find is if you're coming down the left-hand side, for instance, where Thuram is now, you'd say got Vinny coming down that side. If he's in that position, I will find him coming out to the wing a little bit, and then he'll cut in between. Virgil's more than likely gone into the middle to cover that part, and then obviously Thuram's gone in the wrong way. Whereas if I put him on the defense, he tucks in nicely. It lets people come down the wings. That's absolutely fine because we know they're not crossing it because it's pretty much irrelevant to. And with 4 defenders in there that are very competent at heading, you just know they're not going to do it. So they're going to bring in that attack. You can then obviously set your position up better. I've just found more luck with that defensive side. When it then comes to the 2 defensive mids, we've got 2 different options. You obviously go with the defending, or you go with the roaming. Ball winning I don't really bother with. I normally stick with either one of these 2. Now, personally for me, if I'm looking at him, it will depend on what I've gone with the role. Now, obviously the role, we've got the deep line playmaker and the holding. Now, the difference between the 2, as you'll see, you've got more of the ball winning, the holding player, somebody who's going to be more almost kind of in the midfield focus, but he's kind of just holding the line. The deep line playmaker, the key cog to building up a play from the back, their defensive position midfield will often then catalyst for attack. So the holding is the person who's going to sit as the DM. The deep line playmaker is somebody that's going to sit as that DM, and then he'll push with it. Now, because obviously I've got 2 players that are very similar in that role, it is a shame that Hullet for me has got the deep line playmaker as a plus rather than a plus plus. At the moment, I have got Hullet as the holding, and then I've got the deep line playmaker as Vitinha. Again, you could go with the Roman, you can go with the build-up. So obviously with this, when they set the build up, the deep line playmaker will move forward and offer a passing option to support attack. For me, that has been another great position. So it kind of almost emulates going into like a 4-1-2-1-2. You've got your left and right mid, your 2 strikers, and you've got almost a cam and a DM, but it's not as much as a cam. He's kind of sitting in forward, but it's just enough. So it works for me personally. Obviously the holding stays as a defender, if anything. We then also have the winger in both of them. So arguably, I think these are the easiest 4. The strikers will always stay on advanced forward plus plus. I don't think anybody really utilizes anything else. It's just been my favorite. It's been one of the favorites for a striker for the entirety of the game. So getting the advanced forward plus plus is perfect. I get that you can have the support, but it's always just been attack for me. I've never really bothered with going too much anywhere else. And then when it comes for the wingers, to be honest, they've been the same as well, because I'm very much attacking wingers. I'm almost your left and right wing. I've always gone for the inside forward plus plus. I get, again, you can have different ones, but it's always been a better one for me to go with the inside forward plus plus on both, and both to have just a balance. It gets them up and down, and like I say, you kind of then moving in a unit with the 3 players that go up and down. So you got Vinny, James, and Vitinha. They will push up. Hullet and the defenders will stay back. Dalglish, CR7 will stay up front, and them 3 will kind of move up and down, meaning you've always got 2 strikers up front, you've always got 5 defenders at the back, and it's the 3 with how you play. If I push Hullet up, you've just got to remember Vitinha's naturally going to be put up there in the build-up. So what you kind of have to do is play it out with Hullet, that's fine, but you want to make it into Vitinha before you then go to the wingers, because if you go with a 1-2 run with Hullet, with Vitinha for instance, both of them are going to come up, and nobody's going to be at the back if you get turned over. Obviously the 4 defenders, but in the midfield, they'll just run straight through the midfield and easily have more of a counter. So it is something that you've got to get prepared with it, but naturally, I love a 4-4-2. If it's holding, if it's flat, they both work really, really well. What I want to know is, leave it in the comment section below. What is your formation at the moment? I want to go through a few more to see if I can find anything I personally like playing with more than I do with your 4-3-3s, your 4-1-2-1-2s, or your standard 4-4-2. Leave it down below, make sure you like and subscribe on this, and if you've got any other position tips, leave them in the comments for everybody else. Peace.